It's wheel gun time on Sunday GUNDAY. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and today we are finally taking a look at another revolver. I've only ever done one dedicated video on a revolver in the past, and like I said in that video, I'm not really a big wheel gun guy. I definitely appreciate them for what they are and the applications that they can be used for, but there are just other types of guns that I enjoy shooting more. That being said, once I came across this gun and saw a few of the interesting features, I figured maybe I should give it another shot, literally. So now let's take a closer look at the Smith & Wesson Performance Center Model 19 Carry Comp. Smith & Wesson first introduced the Model 19 back in the early 1950s, and it quickly became one of the most popular revolvers in their lineup. In 1999, it was discontinued due to the high demand for polymer guns that have taken over, but luckily for revolver fans, it's back for 2018. On the surface, it doesn't seem like a whole lot has changed, but after 50 years of development, this gun is far superior to its predecessors. The 19 Carry Comp is designed for concealed carry and has modernized features to bring this thing up to speed for the current times. From the tritium in the front night sight to the custom wood or synthetic boot grip, this gun definitely has some personality to it. The feature that stuck out to me the most is the 3-inch power port vented barrel. This little thing is chambered in .357 mag, so hopefully that compensated barrel will help take some of the edge off when shooting. The revolver also features a trigger over travel stop and Performance Center's tuned action, which should give me a smooth double action and light single action trigger pull. Now if I open the cylinder and get in close, you can kind of see the model stamped inside of here, 19-9. 19 is the actual model number, and the dash number is a designation for any engineering changes that have been made over the years. The -9 means that this version has been through 9 significant engineering changes since the initial iteration of the gun. While a lot of the early dash number guns are great shooters with a ton of character, making them sought after by collectors all over the world, Smith & Wesson did not make all of these changes for no reason. All of the updates that they have made to the -9 make this thing more reliable and accurate than ever before. That's just how modern technology works. I'm actually pretty excited to shoot this thing because I haven't shot a revolver in a few months now. So let's go put some shots down range and I will come back with my first cylinder impression. Now since this gun is chambered in .357, I can of course shoot .38 Special through it, so I'm going to start out light with that. I just have some simple FMJs and they are 125 grain. One single action. Now since we only get 6 rounds, I'm going to shoot one more cylinder, this time with some 158 grain .357 mag. These are really what this gun is designed to shoot. It's just going to be a little bit more snappy. And one single action. Alright, back for my first impression of the 19 Carry Comp. This gun was built on their K-frame design, which is good for carrying, and there are some other features too that go along with that. One of them, of course, being the shorter barrel, but also back here on the hammer, it has a rounded profile to it, which should make it a little bit more comfortable if you are carrying this thing concealed. Now, while I am not a big wheel gun guy, I definitely appreciate shooting revolvers like this. I like the engineering and machining that goes into them, much like the lever actions that you have seen on my channel in the past. For just coming out here and shooting at targets, that .38 Special worked great. The recoil is obviously a lot lower than the .357 mag rounds, but at the same time when you move up to the .357 mag, the compensated barrel definitely comes into play when shooting faster loads. I have obviously shot a lot of revolvers over the past couple of years, and so far this is definitely the most manageable recoil-wise. The barrel length is 3 inches, but at the same time it's more like 2.5 because anything past the front sight post is the compensator. So once the bullet passes through here, obviously the gases are being ejected out the top of the barrel, keeping this thing kind of flat shooting. Obviously not as flat or manageable as some polymer pistols, but at the same time for a revolver shooting a 357 load, it's pretty good. Since the gun is designed for concealed carry and personal protection, I was shooting at only about like 15 yards there. The sights seem okay, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Obviously there are some different options out there which I would prefer, but the rear is fully adjustable. I don't think I will need to touch or tweak anything on there. And then the front post is obviously fixed and there is a little tritium vial down inside of there. Both the rear and front posts are serrated, so it does cut down on a little bit of glare since it is pretty bright out here. And when I put the sights out on target, I do like the proportions. That front sight post fills that rear notch pretty well. Now let's move back to the grips. I do have the wooden grips installed, which at first I wasn't a big fan of, but the more I look at this gun, the more I appreciate the attention to detail. The gun does come with this replaceable rubber grip, which would give me a little bit more real estate there. I could get my pinky on. I do of course like all black everything, so the black grip on the black gun I think would look really good. But since it is still a classic gun with a classic design, I really do like the wood grips on there, and I don't think that I'm actually going to change these out. With these grips installed, I can get a good 2-finger grip. My pinky just kind of wraps around the bottom there, and then you just kind of have to squeeze on this thing and make sure it's not going to fly out of your hand. This probably wouldn't be the best gun to put in a new shooter's hand, but at the same time, since the barrel is compensated, you could put some 38 special loads in there. If it is someone's first time shooting a revolver, I think this would be actually a very good option. Especially with this Performance Center tuned trigger too. We will talk about that after I shoot it some more. There's some very aggressive knurling on the hammer, which is nice. I can definitely cock this thing without an issue, even if my hands were cold or wet. And then the cylinder also has a new ball detent locking system. A lot of these little features like that definitely improve this gun over time, and that's what makes the Dash 9 a little bit better than the predecessors. Now, while this gun is pretty simple since it's a revolver, I do have a couple more things to talk about. But first, let me go put some more rounds down range, and then I will come back and give you my final thoughts on the 19 carry comp. I'm gonna start by getting rid of some of this 38 special. It is fun to shoot, but at the same time, the real fun is the 357. Now I'm back at about 30 yards, definitely outside of a normal self-defense scenario, but let's see if this thing can reach out a little bit. Yeah, not too bad. .38's gone now, so we're back to 357. That's a lot more fun. Let's see if I can hang on to this little grip. I'm pretty far back now, about 50 yards. Don't worry about my car, it'll be okay. I'm gonna shoot this thing in single action and see if we can get some hits. There we go. Not too bad. Might have rushed it a little bit. That's all I got. Alright guys, back for my final thoughts on the Performance Center 19 carry comp. I want to start off with the trigger. I'll preface this by saying it is not good to dry fire a gun like this. You could damage the hammer or the firing pin, so don't do what I'm doing in this video. It shouldn't cause that much harm, and I also have some spent casings in here, which may help protect against some damage that could occur to the pin, but chances are it's not going to do anything. So revolvers in double action, obviously they're going to have a pretty heavy trigger pull, but with this Performance Center tuned up package, this thing is actually super smooth and very predictable too if you get used to it. It is pretty heavy, maybe about 5 or more pounds, so obviously I'm not going to be shooting with the pad of my finger. I sort of wrap my finger through there, that way I can get a consistent pull. Although it's heavy, it is a very smooth pull all the way back as the hammer comes back and the cylinder rotates. I'm almost all the way at the back of the trigger guard there. With just a little bit more force, you get a very nice break. For a revolver, this is definitely one of the nicer triggers that I've shot. The single action is of course even better. I wish I had a trigger gauge to show you guys what this pull actually is, but it is hair-like. I'll just put the pad of my finger on there, very slight pull. Super crisp break, it's like glass breaking. Now typically with an off-the-shelf revolver, you're not going to get that very smooth double action pull. But Performance Center obviously worked their magic, and this thing is actually a pleasure to shoot. Even when I'm out on target, I could press off shots decently accurate and pretty quickly as well. When shooting the bigger 357 rounds, it obviously recoiled a lot more, but with that compensated barrel, it did allow me to get back on target pretty quickly. Now to get into a little bit of the purpose of use of this gun, it could be used for carry because that's actually what it's designed for. Me personally, I would not want to carry a heavy gun like this when there are other polymer semi-automatic guns on the market that could definitely take its place. But at the same time, if I were to choose a revolver, it probably would be in this form factor with all of these features. Being that this gun is built on the K-frame, it has a compensated barrel, night sights, that Performance Center trigger, everything that you get in this package makes this gun fairly good for pretty much whatever you want to do with it. Revolvers are obviously a little bit on the heavy side. You're only going to get 6 rounds. It is a little bit bulky because of the cylinder, so you'd have to get a good holster to keep this thing in. But you definitely could use this as a form of self-defense. I personally would not. Now that doesn't mean that I would not trust this thing. Obviously it's a revolver. There's a lot less moving parts than some of the newer guns today. When you look at the internals on something like this, it definitely does get a little bit more complex as compared to some of the older models. But still, these guns are fairly simple, and if you want reliability, a revolver is a good way to go for sure. Now when you're going with a revolver of this quality, you're getting the Performance Center trigger, all of these very nice features, you're obviously going to have to pay a little bit of a premium. The only downside to a revolver like this is that you're going to be looking to pay around the $1,000 mark. Now, just like going about buying 1911s, when I'm faced with a purchase like that, yes, there are some cheaper options out there, but 9 times out of 10, the quality that you're going to get and the performance that you're going to get out of a firearm like this is going to reflect directly on how much you actually paid. So this package, I definitely get that it is a little bit out of people's normal price ranges, but just like mostly everything, you're going to get what you pay for. Overall, I think this is a really cool package. It is definitely a great smooth shooting gun, and I think I can give my thumbs up of approval for anyone who is in the market for a revolver, especially if you're looking for some performance from Smith & Wesson's Performance Center. So that's all the thoughts that I have for now on the Performance Center 19 carry comp. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask those in the comments down below. I'm still not a wheel gun guy. You will not see me using this for concealed carry anytime soon. But at the same time, I definitely appreciate a high-end revolver like this. And chances are I'm going to be bringing it out here to the range and shooting it from time to time. So with all of that being said, if you are new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week, and that's going to be all for today. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.